According to Britannica Online, data mining is a type of data analysis that attempts to discover useful patterns or relationships in a group of data. A major goal of data mining is to discover previously unknown relationships among the data, especially when the data come from different databases. Many companies use data mining tactics in business today. Charles Hannon, an associate professor at Washington and Jefferson College, points out many uses of data mining in his article, Mining Meaning from Information. Hannon explains how credit card companies use data mining techniques to try and detect fraud. Banks use data mining to help determine a loan applicant's suitability for a loan. Retailers use data mining to help identify a customer's previous purchases and buying patterns. And advertising agencies, of course, use data mining to send the right offer to the right customers at the right time through the right channel. Data mining can be a very successful tool in business. Its ability to find hidden trends and patterns and to extract useful information from these is evidence in its widespread use within many business sectors. What remains to be seen is whether data mining can be used as a useful tool in the war on terror. After the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001, the government realized that the intelligence and law enforcement communities were at a disadvantage in the modern world. With large amounts of data to deal with and poor communication between various agencies, the government was tasked with trying to find an enemy that proved very elusive. Terrorists blend in with the populace. They don't wear uniforms and they excel at hiding in plain sight. The business world was obviously using data mining with a great deal of success. The government considered the task it was facing and decided that data mining could possibly be the answer to its problem of identifying terrorists too. In 2002, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, appointed Admiral John Poindexter head of the Office of Information Awareness. In a New York Times article in November 2002, John Markoff revealed that this office was creating a project called Total Information Awareness, TIA. The project's goal would be, to quote Markoff, break down the stovepipes that separate commercial and government databases, allowing teams of intelligence agency analysts to hunt for hidden patterns of activity with powerful computers. A key factor in this project was going to be the use of data mining techniques to analyze these databases. This immediately set off alarms with various civil liberties organizations. Due to controversy over the project, Congress eliminated funding and closed the Office of Information Awareness in September 2003. This leaves us with a question. Is it worthwhile for the government to use data mining techniques and technology to find terrorists and attempt to predict their behavior? Perhaps the most common argument for using data mining to track and discover terrorists concerns the amount of information that must be examined. It is said that we need supercomputing and data mining techniques to be able to extract suspicious patterns of behavior. Another argument in favor of data mining states that its ability to be predictive overrides concerns of personal privacy. Finally, some people are just afraid not to try data mining on the chance that it might work. Robert Popp was the Deputy Director of the Office of Information Awareness at DARPA, and he stated, "There's a real fear of not going down this path, because if there is value, you don't want to be on the side that opposed the data mining project." It's true that there are vast amounts of information to go through. The question is, should we be going through all this data to begin with? The Markula Center for Applied Ethics has held panel discussion on the ethics of data mining concerning individual privacy. Director of Publications Miriam Schulman makes the point that if privacy is going to be invaded, is the information that is sought through this invasion relevant to the ends that we are trying to accomplish? If we've decided that we're willing to give up some privacy for the sake of national security, to what level are we willing to let the government dig into our information? Without some sort of control over the amount or type of data that the government is going to apply data mining techniques to, what guarantee does the populace have that unnecessary information won't be culled through? As to the ability of data mining to be predictive, it absolutely can be in certain circumstances. Data mining can be used to spot credit card fraud, but most cases of credit card fraud have fairly recognizable patterns, such as sudden buying of uncharacteristic or expensive items. It can be used to predict buying trends for retailers also. Both of these uses of predictive data mining are successful because they are based on examples that may occur thousands of times a year. The question is, does data mining have a predictive ability regarding terrorist acts? Jeff Jonas and Jim Harper did a policy analysis for the Cato Institute. They concluded that terrorist incidents don't have the same type of trends that can be examined or predicted, mainly due to the extremely small number of incidents per year. They state that there are no meaningful patterns that show what behavior indicates planning or preparation for terrorism. Therefore, without any sort of model or profile to search for, any use of predictive data mining is not going to be effective. Worse, not only may it not be effective, it may be a complete waste of time and money and manpower that could be effectively used somewhere else. Perhaps the hardest argument to defeat is that if there is any chance whatsoever or value or results to come from data mining, it should be pursued. Who would be against trying any means possible to stop terrorists from attacking us again? The problem with this argument is that the government, although large, does have a limited amount of resources to use. Wouldn't we be far better off in figuring out what methods work best and have the greatest chance of success? Then we could apply the majority of our resources in the direction that gave the best chance for success. This must be looked at like a business decision, and the federal government has had a terrible track record in terms of oversight and management of IT projects. Bruce Schneier gives a bit more concrete example by putting some numbers to the situation. In a hypothetical example, he grants the system 99% accuracy in terms of false positives and 99.9% accuracy in terms of false negatives. Where the numbers come into play is when you consider the amount of events to be looked at. Consider 1 trillion events to sift through per day. That's only about 10 events, such as emails, purchases, or phone calls per person in the United States. He also assumes that there are actually 10 terrorists actively plotting. The conclusion he reaches is that this unrealistically accurate system will generate 1 billion false alarms for every real terrorist plot it uncovers. Every day of every year, the police will have to investigate 27 million potential plots in order to find the one real terrorist plot per month. Raise that false positive accuracy to an absurd 99.9999%, and you're still chasing 2,750 false alarms per day. But that will inevitably raise your false negatives, and you're going to miss some of those 10 real plots. Wouldn't we be better off trying to find a system that actually has a chance of working rather than pouring money and manpower into the above-mentioned situation? Valdis Krebs, an expert in social and organizational network analysis, mentions one possible alternative. This is social network analysis. It could be considered as a relative of data mining, but involves a bottom-up approach rather than a top-down approach. Using his theories of social networking, Krebs was able to make a map that showed all of the September 11th hijackers and indicated that Mohammed Atta emerging as the leader in this network. All of Krebs' analysis was done from public sources on the World Wide Web in late 2001 through early 2002. In summary, the use of data mining in the war on terror would have to be considered more of an invasion of privacy than a useful tool. As attempted by various government agencies so far, data mining projects have been poorly implemented. Former CIO for the Department of Homeland Security, Steve Cooper, stated that no one in the government has looked at data mining from an IT value perspective. I couldn't figure out the value of data mining when I was at DHS, and I can't figure it out now, but that didn't stop us from using it. A better alternative might be a tool like social network analysis, combined with standard investigative procedure, When we as a people decide to trade some of our personal freedom for greater security, we should be sure that the government is using the best possible means to increase that security.